All right. So the heat is officially on here in the Classic Guitar Rock Northern Command Center. In my part of the country, it's been very cold. I have a little place about 110 miles to the west in Montana, and it has been 27 below for like the last 5 nights. My pipes have froze. It's a mess. 27 below is not fun. The good thing is it's up to a balmy here in Spokane where I live. It's up to a balmy like 6 degrees, and over there it's 1 degree. So it's warming up. So that's the good news. I hope you're warm where you are, and I hope things are going well. I made a little update on my X page yesterday that I've been traveling the last few days. I'm about to travel again for work. So it's going to be kind of hit or miss with the daily updates. So thank you for joining me today. We'll probably be able to do some for the next few days, but it will be hit or miss. We've got folks. Dash Donkeys is tuning in from Germany. Thank you, Dash Donkeys, for joining us. It gets very cold in Germany. I think it might be colder here right now, but I'm sure often it's colder there where you are. But thank you for braving the conditions, whatever they are there, and joining us here. Thank you so much. Let's jump right into this. More Kiss news. It's always kind of an ongoing thing between Paul and Gene, and then Ace and not so much Peter Criss. He doesn't get involved in it too much, but Ace's new album is coming out like anytime in the next couple weeks. 10,000 volts. Well, that anytime he has an album coming out, that just kind of ratchets up the rhetoric. So in the latest from Ace, the latest shot across the bow from Ace is that he says, quote, I can play rings around Paul Stanley. I can play rings around Paul Stanley on guitar. I can even sing better than him, and I don't have to use backing tracks. So now Ace claims he can sing better than Paul. I don't know if I'd go that far, but to be honest, we don't listen to Ace Frehley for his singing. Let's be honest, right? I do know he sings better than Vince Neil. Okay, I do know Ace Frehley sings better than Vince Neil. I'm not ready to say that and I'm an Ace fan, right? But I'm not ready to say he sings better than Paul. Another thing about Ace. So Ace hasn't been able to tour Europe for a long time, and there's lots of fans in Europe that want to see the Spaceman. And Ace has been out touring. In fact, he's announced tour dates for North America. It's mostly on the East Coast, but that's coming up. So he is out promoting this album. He's excited about this new album. I like the lead off. I like 10,000 volts. Catchy tune. Typical Ace, lyrics that sound like a 12-year-old wrote them, but that's kind of what we expect from Ace. It's not cerebral music. It's rock and roll music. Well, European fans, Ace, when are you going to come here? When are you going to come see us? Well, come to find out, here's the problem. Ace says, well, there's a good chance I can make it to Europe in late summer if I get my passport renewed. I've been having issues with renewing my passport because I have some problems with the IRS. So it's not a passport issue per se. It's an IRS issue. He says he owes the IRS a few $100,000. And if you're in arrears with the IRS, they will not let you get a passport. So he's got to handle the back taxes that he owes with the IRS because he wants to get out and promote this new album in Europe. So hopefully he'll get that taken care of. Tucker is chiming in. Tucker says, how good will the rest of the new Ace album be? I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Just the other night, as I was driving home from Walmart, I was listening to the Ace solo album. Remember the Kiss solo albums that came out in 78, 79, whenever they came out? I was listening to that again, and there's some good stuff on that. And if 10,000 volts is any indication, I'll enjoy it. I think it will be a fun album. We'll see how it goes. Tucker, thanks for chiming in. A little more Kiss news here. This from the orbit of former Kiss guitarist and weird guy, Vinnie Vincent. Vinnie Vincent. Okay, I want to choose my words carefully because I think there might be some mental illness going on. And I'm not joking about this. I really think that might be the case with Vinnie Vincent. All is not well with Vinnie Vincent. There's a history he just dropped out of sight for 25 years. And then all of a sudden, a few years ago, he kind of resurfaced. He was interviewed at a Kiss convention by Eddie Trunk, and he's like wearing a Hillary Clinton pantsuit, and it's just. And then here's where it got really weird: is he booked several live events, right? And there was a very small but loyal Vinnie Vincent following in the Kiss Army. There's a Vinnie Vincent contingent, I think is the right word. There's this small but loyal group of folks that are Vinnie Vincent fans. And so these folks are buying tickets to see, hey, Vinnie Vincent's going to be playing in Nashville. He's going to be playing here. He's going to be playing on this cruise. He's going to be doing this. He's going to be doing a live stream, whatever. Well, there's a pattern that came out. He'd cancel. He'd never actually play at these things, and people would be out money. And even if they could get their tickets refunded, if they had booked travel to go see it, well, they're just out that. So there's a track record of just shady behavior. Well, the latest thing, and this is a week old, but I just haven't had a chance to talk about it. The latest thing is Vinnie Vincent has a Facebook group. Lots of artists have a Facebook group, where you can join their group, their page, follow them or whatever, and they'll put material up there. Well, Vinnie Vincent announced here a week ago that he was going to start charging folks $200 a year to belong to his Facebook group. How do you think that's going to go over? Yeah, it's weird. So I don't know what his money situation is. He's always charged way too much for crazy stuff, autograph pictures, whatever it is. Something's not right with the dude. There's something that is not right. There was a whole, and I'm not going to get into all that, but there's a whole situation that happened years ago with weird. Okay. You guys might know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into that, dealing with a dead dog. And it's just, well, now I got to say it. He had a dog that died or something, and he'd been keeping it in the freezer or something weird. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Vinnie Vincent. Okay. And I don't want to just make fun of him because, it's easy to just make fun of him, except there might literally be something going on. And so how did I get into that? Let's just avoid that. Okay. Vinnie Vincent, notorious for really long, obnoxious guitar solos. One of the things that Paul Stanley talks about in his autobiography is that they literally had to start pulling the plug on Vinnie Vincent's live solos when he was doing the Lick It Up tour and the Creatures of the Night tour, because his solo just would not, he'd go on and on and on. And the dude wanted to be Randy Rhoads. Well, he's an okay guitar player, but he was no Randy Rhoads. But they just got to the point where they got the solo spot got longer and longer and longer. And they literally had to just start shutting him off because he wouldn't stop. And you can go out and watch some of his solo spots, and they ain't that good. I'm sure they were loud, but they weren't that good. So let's move on from Kiss to, are we going to flirt with mental illness here? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Okay. I'm a journalist. This is a guy that on any given day, he's either my favorite guitarist or maybe my second. I mean, he's right there. If I had to pick my favorite guitarist, it would be this guy, the one and only Michael Schenker, who, when he's not talking about how much he dislikes his brother Rudolph in an interview, he's talking about how good he is. I mean, he's really, he really kind of is. That's kind of his MO. But the thing is, he is really good. He's really good. But most people don't come right out and say, I'm really good. Okay, well, and he doesn't come right out and say it, but he just says, you'll see what I'm talking about here. And I'd heard this story before. Over the course of Schenker's career, he joined UFO when he was like 16. And in around that time, when he first came to England with UFO, he raised a lot of eyebrows. The dude was really good. And he was like 16, 17. The Rolling Stones were interested in Schenker. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the Rolling Stones with Schenker? Thin Lizzy at one time wanted Michael Schenker. Aerosmith. We'll talk about Aerosmith here in a bit. But one of the famous instances that occurred with Schenker was right after Randy Rhoads died. Ozzy reached out to Schenker and said, "Hey, why don't you join my band? Why don't you come? I need you. I've lost Randy. I need a guitar player." And here's what he says. Okay, let me get this right. He says, quote, "I loved Sabbath and I should have been delighted to join. I instantly had visions of Ozzy dragging me across the stage by my hair, but a voice in my head said, 'Michael, follow your vision.' I'd left UFO and Scorpions because I didn't want to go any further with the fame thing, and I wanted freedom and peace, so I felt it would be crazy to join." He also felt it wasn't the right time because he was working on Assault Attack, the second Michael Schenker Group album. It's actually the third Michael Schenker Group album, I believe. We've got Michael Schenker Group, then we've got the MSG album, then we've got Assault Attack, then we got Built to Destroy. Yeah, so it's actually the third. Ozzy knew that I was Randy's favorite guitar player, so he thought I'd be the perfect fit. Okay, well, I've read interviews where Randy mentions Michael Schenker was one of the guitarists he liked. I don't know that I've heard Randy say Michael Schenker was his favorite guitar player. So whatever. But the only way I could think of getting out of the Ozzy gig was by making outrageous demands. So that's what I did. In his book, Ozzy said I asked for a private jet, and that's true. But it was only so that he'd turn me down. Okay, so why don't you that seems weird to me. Why wouldn't you say, "No, Ozzy, I'm doing my solo thing. I got this album. I can't do it." Why would you just say, "I know what I'll do. I'll act crazy"? Well, I'm maybe he is. But anyways, he admits he did ask for his own private plane. And that's why Ozzy said no. And he said the only reason he asked for that was because I guess it was easier to do that than just say no, which I don't understand that. He said he was never really interested in joining Thin Lizzy, even though he liked Thin Lizzy. He wasn't interested in joining them, but he was interested in joining Aerosmith. So if you guys remember, Joe Perry left Aerosmith in 79. Okay, Joe Perry Project. He left for a while. And at this time, this was right after Schenker had left UFO, and he was interested in joining Aerosmith. And he says, quote, "I got as far as rehearsing with Joey Kramer and Tom Hamilton in Boston," Schenker said. "At the time, Steven Tyler was in the hospital, and I remember Brad Whitford coming into the room, being shocked at seeing me, and running out again saying expletive, the F word, right? I think he went to see Tyler in the hospital and said, Michael Schenker is trying to steal our rhythm section. You need to do something. So they decided to carry on Aerosmith without me. So again, from the sordid tales of Michael Schenker, who again, my favorite guitar player, but again, slightly cuckoo. There are currently no future touring plans in place for The Who, and Roger Daltrey is content with that. The singer recently spoke with The Times about the band's status, explaining that he'd need to discuss whatever happens next with bandmate Pete Townsend. Quote, I don't write the songs. I never did, Daltrey said. We need to sit down and have a meeting. But at the moment, I'm happy saying that part of my life is over. Now, interestingly, this is pretty much what Pete Townsend has said. So I think we can safely say The Who is probably done. Because last fall, Townsend said, quote, I think it's time for Roger and I to go to lunch and have a chat about what happens next. Because the final summer tour stop shouldn't feel like the end of anything, but it feels like the end of an era. So that's kind of a mixed message, right? It's the end of something, or an end of I don't know. It sounds like that if neither of them want to do anything, then probably neither of them will do anything. Makes sense? So I think The Who's probably done. We have more great Saxon news. I talked about Saxon, I think maybe in the last update. Can't remember. Saxon's still putting out good music, and Biff Byford is like 90 years old, and they're put it out. Well, man, if you're a fan of the Flying Saucers, you're going to love the latest Saxon single, just dropped today. British heavy metal legend Saxon will release their 24th studio album, Hellfire and Damnation, on January 19th. That's coming right up, and I'm going to listen to that thing. The official music video for the LP's latest single, There's Something in Roswell. Yeah, that Roswell. That video dropped today, and I checked it out. And dude, you got classic metal and Flying Saucers. Does it get any better than that? You know what? I saw a UFO once. I have seen a UFO. One night when I was out looking for Bigfoot, I saw a UFO. So here's a song about Roswell and the whole thing. Fascinating. So you should check it out. The song is called There's Something in Roswell, and it's about Roswell, the whole thing. That's an interesting thing to dig up, by the way. I'm joking about UFOs and Bigfoot, but that doesn't mean there aren't UFOs and Bigfoot just because I'm joking about it. Okay? Tucker, question from Tucker. Would you say that Aerosmith is done? What do you guys think? Do you think Aerosmith is done? I am about 67.3% confident that they are done in my mind. I kind of think they're done. What do you guys think? Love to hear your thoughts. You can always email me at classicguitarrock@mail.com. That's classicguitarrock@mail.com. Of course, we're available on X, formerly known as Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're even on the Instagram. I mean, our plan for world domination is moving forward. One last question from Tucker. What were you smoking seeing UFOs and Bigfoot? Nothing. I was on a natural high. Nothing. All right. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Probably tomorrow in the next few days, we'll be able to do updates. Thanks so much. We'll see you. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.